On behalf of Kerala Management Association, we extend a warm welcome to each one of you to the KMA InsightX series 10th edition.
This evening, we gather to explore a timely and significant theme, creating a digital video platform for audiences in India and beyond. We are honored to have our distinguished guests, members, and well-wishers with us today.
As we begin today's proceedings, may I request everyone to rise for a moment of prayer. Thank you. You may kindly be seated.
To formally commence today's session, we invite Mr. Dilip Narayanan, Vice President and Program Chair KMA, to deliver the welcome address and introduce our esteemed speaker.
Good evening, Mr. President, Harikumar sir, distinguished Chief Guest Archana Anand, Honorary Secretary Anil Verma, KMA members, student chapter members, past presidents, managing committee members, invited guests. At the outset, let me welcome each one of you to the 10th edition of InsightX, our regular program where we engage with inspiring leaders who have shaped industries, concepts, and influenced change. Today we are privileged to have with us Ms. Archana Anand, former Chief Business Officer of ZEE5 Global, a visionary leader who has played a pioneering role in India's digital streaming revolution. Archana has a rare distinction of having helmed 4 streaming services, 2 of which she launched from inception. At ZEE, she was at the forefront of the company's digital transformation, leading the original team that developed and launched ZEE5, which went on to become India's largest language-based entertainment platform. With over 25 years of cross-industry experience spanning consumer strategy, marketing, and innovation, she brings a deep understanding of how technology, storytelling, and audience insight converge to build enduring media experiences. Under her leadership, ZEE5 grew into a powerful platform connecting millions of viewers through content in multiple Indian languages, demonstrating how digital platforms can both celebrate diversity and unify audiences across regions. Her topic today, creating a digital video platform for audiences in India and beyond, captures that journey. One of vision, one of innovation, and relentless focus on the audience. On behalf of the Kerala Management Association, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you, Ms. Archana Anand. It's an honor to have you with us this evening. And today I came to know that you are also a member of KMA, so be more active in Kerala Management Association. And I know that you are going to be here for some time in Kerala. Before I close, we have the next program on the next Friday that's slightly different. It's 11th edition of InsightX. It's a joint program with 3 other organizations in the advertising and marketing industry, where we are having a tribute to be paid to the late Piyush Pandey, celebrating his life, and an array of great luminaries who have worked with Piyush, including Mr. Prakash Verma, the famous Jyot sir for Keralites, and Rajiv Rao, the current Chief Creative Officer of Ogilvy, Kiran Anthony, and Suresh Eriat, Prakash Nair, all luminaries in advertising field who has worked with Piyush, will be remembering. So all of them are coming from Bombay, Delhi and all. It's on next Friday, 21st November. Timing is slightly different. It's 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's around 4 o'clock we plan to start. And the venue is not here. We may be with this kind of galaxy of people and audience, we may not be able to accommodate here. So it's in the SEMS auditorium in Kalamasheri. So please join that meeting. I take this opportunity to welcome each one of you, our members, guests, and friends who continue to support and make InsightX a vibrant space for learning and dialogue and conversations. Thank you, and looking forward to an engaging session today.
Thank you, sir, for the warm welcome and for the introduction. We now move forward with the presidential address. It is our honor to invite Mr. K. Harikumar, President KMA, to address the gathering.
Thank you very much. Respected dignitaries on the dais, past presidents, managing committee members, and dear KMA members and dear students. First of all, let me thank Dilip for organizing this InsightX series in a really good manner. We have had an array of speakers spanning across sectors, spanning across various activities, and this area on which Ms. Anand is going to talk, that is creating a digital video platform for audience in India and beyond, I'm sure it's not a subject which has ever been discussed or deliberated in KMA. Thank you, Dilip, for organizing this. And we all know how the digital media has been evolving. That is, even the videos, I'm not talking about the streaming, I'm talking about how this particular, the entertainment or how the communication has evolved over a period of time. Actually, if you look at it, it has been a transformation from the radios which we all had during our childhood to TV, the Doordarshan which came, basically it came to Kerala during the Asiad Games in 1980s, beginning of 80s. We all remember even that Rukavat Ke Liye Khede which used to go round and round. That was the DD era. From then, private channels came. They started initially airing from abroad because in India it was not allowed. From there, regional channels came. And it has been a huge transformation. I'm sure that she'll be talking about that. And now even then cable TV came, DTH came, these are all ways of transmission. Now, whether TV has a future or something is something which again is to be deliberated, because entertainment has actually moved away from TV. You also probably remember, people of the older generation also remember the Chitrahar days, wherein people used to sit glued into the TV, or even in Kerala, 4 o'clock Malayalam film on Sundays on Doordarshan. These were all activities which used to hold people together. But all this has changed with the coming of OTT platform. You have anything you want at the click of a button. Things have changed. Things have transformed. And with this, it's not only the viewer has changed, the viewer habits have changed, the viewer attitude has changed, viewer preferences have changed, but it has also transformed many industries, like advertising has changed. Even TVs are no longer the preferred medium of advertising because the viewership has come down. Meta and YouTube, everything has taken over. Even the attention span of the people has come down. So look at the transformation which has happened, and incidentally transforming for impact is also the theme of the convention. So this is probably one of the, I would say, as a curtain raiser for the convention, wherein we'll be talking about transformation which has happened in one particular sector, one particular segment. So that is something which I wanted to brief you. So kindly listen to Ms. Anand so that everybody will get an idea how fast things are evolving. And it is not the industry is evolving. When the industry evolves, it also changes the habit and everything of the people who are associated directly or indirectly. And KMA as an organization would like to keep you briefed about the changes which are happening around us. And KMA also is organizing many programs for that. We recently had a digital summit which was very well attended. More than 210 participants were there. It was attended by the best of the best from the industry, from the digital area. and we had our inauguration by none other than the Google chief. Likewise, many things are happening. We also had a corporate league cricket match which was participated by more than 24 people, 24 corporates participated. What I'm trying to tell you is KMA is touching upon various segments. KMA is touching upon digital, KMA is touching upon entertainment. KMA also believes in team building so that the organization also can move in the right direction. We also have started a finishing school initiative which has been very well received. So likewise, I would only suggest that please stay tuned to KMA's activities. There will be a lot of things which are coming up. Lot of activities are also in the pipeline. Please stay tuned and please look out for the notifications. Please look out for the advertisements. Please look out for the communication from KMA. And I would now leave the stage open for Ms. Anand to deliberate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring message and thoughtful insights. Now, it's the moment we have been eagerly waiting for, the keynote address.
We are privileged to welcome a visionary leader in the digital media space, Ms. Archana Anand, former Chief Business Officer, ZEE5 Global. Her vast experience in shaping global digital platforms brings immense values to today's discussion.
Ma'am, we are delighted to have you with us today. The stage is now yours.
Thank you so much. A very warm thank you to KMA for having me here today. A special thank you to Shailija Menon, who is responsible for me joining KMA because she thought I might add some value, and I really hope that I will. A warm thank you to Mr. Algiers and Mr. Dilip, who are the ones who ensure that I'm speaking here today. I'm really looking forward. I'm assuming that, if you guys think back, you can think of a time when we wanted to watch a specific movie, we just patiently waited for it to come to the local theater in our city, and that was really the only means by which we could watch that movie. Or a time when we wanted to watch a specific TV program, and Mr. Hari Kumar mentioned a couple of lovely programs. He mentioned the Chitrahar, which I think all of us would remember. But then there were also the iconic sagas like, Hum Log or Bunyad, or even, he mentioned later on that the foreign serials through cable TV came in, whether it was The Bold and the Beautiful or Santa Barbara. All of them were watched in a specific manner. You went and found the appointed time at which it would sort of get aired, and then we gathered like a big family in a room, and all of us sat together and watched this program. So it was what you called appointment viewing, right? You made an appointment, you sat in a room, and you viewed television. And strangely, you watched it across generations together. You had a grandfather or a grandmother, an uncle or an aunt, a dad or a mom, and the youngsters sitting together and watching television together. That was appointment viewing. That phenomena is actually just in the recent past, but it is a thing of the past. It's almost unfathomable for us today to imagine that your granddad, your dad, your uncle or aunt, and your child is watching the same program. None of us. All of us have changed our habits so drastically that we're all watching our content on our personal devices, anytime, anywhere, possibly on the go, and disparately different content, right? That is the era that we live in. And this entire leapfrogging of both the habit of viewing and what we view has changed in a very short span of actually just a decade. In a decade, everything has changed. What has really caused this change is the advent of streaming, which came in with high-speed internet, right? And suddenly, all of us are able to watch anytime, anywhere, on the go, and a wide variety of content. So this kind of journey, this evolution, is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. And also about, while this medium and evolution was happening, the kind of change we had in the world of content. And I will talk about that more specifically in the deck, where we talk about, back in the day, all of us watched local content, the kind that we knew, and suddenly how that changed. And that actually changed with strangely enough, Titanic, but that's more when I tell you the story. So, creating a digital video platform for audiences in India and abroad. What I'm going to do today is tell you a little bit about the evolution, tell you about how I had the honor of working on, from inception to launch, one of the largest language platforms in India, which then I took across 997 countries in that journey. I'm also talking later on this week about the strategic playbook of how we actually made it a success and rode to #1 in the global markets. But I'm doing that next week at the Thai conference, so I won't go into details there, but I will allude to it here. So the evolution of streaming, right? Basically, streaming began more as a means of distribution, an ability to get to more audiences. But today, OTT platforms have forever redefined how, when, where, and with whom we watch content. This streaming business is today USD $700 billion as an industry, and it's only growing, in leaps and bounds. The really huge leap came in, as all of you know, during the pandemic. While every other industry was struggling, here was one industry that was absolutely thriving because we were stuck in our homes. We literally had nothing else to do other than watch content. So while every other industry was impacted, we were all sitting and secretly smiling. I, as a business person driving a streaming business, was thinking, man, I'm going to hit my targets, and you know what? I don't have to do anything. I just sit at home, and everybody is watching content, and the money is flowing in. So it was a good time. But yeah, streaming has added to our lexicon. There is a term that all of us now say, binge watching. I don't think binge watching was in use till the time that streaming came into being, right? We're watching series after series, episode after episode. And this binge watching is a phenomena that was primarily driven by Netflix. Famously, Reed Hastings, when he was asked what Netflix competes with, he says Netflix competes with sleep. Because once you start watching a Netflix series, you're just going from series to episode to episode to episode. So he really says there is no competition that he has other than actually sleep. So much so, and it's really interesting, Netflix actually created a sock. It's a very interesting sock. Basically what happened is you sat on your couch, you started watching a bunch of Netflix series, and you went from episode to episode to episode, and sometimes, because these series go on, you snoozed off, you actually fell asleep. You know what the sock did? The sock, the moment it sensed that you'd fallen asleep, starts vibrating, basically to jolt you awake and allow you to continue binge watching. So imagine, there was an entire sock created for the binge watching phenomena that all of us started going after, in the streaming era. So streaming has been a really, really interesting thing. There's another word there that says Netflix and chill. I don't know if there's anybody underage here, so I'm going to be very parliamentary about how I define that, but do you all know what Netflix and chill means? Yes. Yes, so there are a couple of naughty youngsters who definitely know what that means. So for those of you who don't, I suggest you check it out, but in a very parliamentary way, if I had to share what it meant, it was something that in the Western universe, people would say, hey, tell the girl, come over, let's Netflix and chill. It basically means we'll both canoodle while we watch Netflix and have a good time. So it became quite a phrase, so to speak. So there's a Netflix sock that wakes you up. There's a Netflix and chill. And then there were the global award shows. We would go in for award shows, whether it was the Oscars or anything, and always it is a production house that walks away with all of the winners, right? And suddenly, over the last couple of years, I don't know whether you've noticed, the winner is a streaming platform. It's a Netflix that is actually walking away with the thing. It's a Hulu that's walking away. And that is, again, a new phenomena. A streaming platform has replaced production houses in winning awards at, streaming, at award shows. So there's a lot of things that have happened with the world of streaming. It has consumed our world, and it has consumed us. The battle for the consumer has become more intense than ever before. I can vouch for this as somebody who led a streaming business, right? Ultimately, no matter what we talk about, all of you as consumers go to an OTT platform because you want to watch content. If the content is compelling and you want to watch it, you will find a way. You will go to that particular OTT platform and you will watch it. But here is the hard truth. No matter how much I market the brand, the truth is actually nobody cares about the brand. You're actually going after the content, right? So here's our problem and as a business. We spend crores and crores and crores buying content to try and satiate you, the consumer. But you know what? You're a fickle person. You're going to watch that. You're going to devour my content in a matter of minutes or hours. And then you know what? You're done with me. You're going to go to the next OTT platform. That is a sad truth that all of us in the OTT business realized rather late. That you know what? We can never actually get the loyalty of a consumer. He is always going to just flirt with us. He's going to consume the content, and then he's done with us, and he's going to move on. And if you will realize, there was a time when all of these OTT platforms used to put up their numbers, vanities, saying that, you know, I've got the biggest number of users. That is only there for an instant. The next instant, it goes. When I was driving the India business, knew that no matter what I did, if Hotstar had IPL, on an IPL day, everybody would subscribe to Hotstar. It's a fact. But here's the equally flip side of that fact. The next day, they will unsubscribe. So I have bought my cricketing rights for $1 million or more. And you know what this fickle consumer does? He watches the IPL and then he says, I'm done with you. I dump you, I'm gone on. So it's a really hard business to be in. And we have realized quite hard that the brand actually doesn't matter. It is always content and content alone that kind of woos the consumer. So that is a story for another day, but just to tell you that there's a real battle for consumer eyeballs. And I'm talking about, therefore, one of the things that we do is we try to curate for a segment of one. What do I mean when I say curate for a segment of one? This is something that Netflix has done beautifully. By the time you have finished watching a Netflix piece of content, they have a recommendation engine that is so strong, that is so beautiful, that has such great algorithm at the back, that it is able to intuitively tell you what else you might like to watch. And therefore, you get hooked. After that content, you're watching the next content, and then you're watching the next content, right? And it is gauging your likes based on a number of things. Maybe in this content, she really likes the actor. Maybe she likes the actress. Maybe she likes the genre. Maybe she likes drama. Maybe she likes romantic. Maybe he likes fight scenes. And that way, the algorithm is so intuitive that they put together the next bit of recommendation. And that's how you stay hooked and connected and you keep watching. So yes, segment of one is another part of streaming. While all this was happening on the streaming era, something was quietly happening on the content side, right? While we tended to watch very local content, Titanic, interestingly, because it's a common content that all of you would relate to and understand, is the first content that actually crossed box office numbers, hit 2 billion. You know, and how did it actually hit 2 billion? It didn't do it by just becoming popular in the US market, which usually is the natural market for these kinds of, you know, big blockbusters. Titanic is a strange one. It actually came in here to India, and it was being shown in all our theaters in Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu. And people were watching it and loving it. What's not to love? It's a beautiful romance. There's that iconic, you know, picture of Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet with their hands akimbo on the hull of the ship. That became a meme that everybody loved. And even in the small markets in India, everybody loved the Titanic. So that was actually a watershed moment for us when we realized that, hey, you know what? If you do great storytelling, great production, great relatability, people will watch the story regardless of the language. And that was another very important thing in the streaming journey. Today, with subtitling, dubbing, and distribution, platforms are expanding exponentially. Good storytelling has a massive market. So I don't know if some of you have watched all of these content, but Father, have you guys watched Father? So anybody who really loves streaming content, it's Israeli content, but it's beautiful storytelling. So along with, for the Parasite won an, Oscar, so you might remember that. All of that allowed us to get a peek into a foreign culture, a foreign people. It was fabulous storytelling. People watched it because it was accessible with streaming. Squid Games, it became a phenomenal hit. Squid Games is being watched in the smallest towns in India. It's being watched in little towns in Bihar. Right? That is what streaming has done. It's democratized content. It has allowed people in small towns in India to aspire to whatever they want because suddenly, they're watching all such things. Korean and Turkish drama. I am pretty sure that every, lady here is secretly watching Korean drama. I don't know why it's such a phenomenal hit. I know those Korean heroes look prettier than all our women, but it's a huge hit, and everybody is watching it. But it's just very relatable, right? There's a lot of romance and drama and very good-looking people, so everybody watches it, and it's a big hit. Turkish content is very similar to Indian content. We're passionate people, the Turkish are passionate people, they're big, dramatic stories, and that is big. Japanese anime, right? Big, big hit, very, very popular. These are things that streaming has done. Suddenly, we're watching foreign language content, and we're loving it, right? Again, complete, outcome of the. Then I come to what we did. At this point in time was when I was with the ZEE group, and we realized that, hey, we're sitting on a mountain of great regional storytelling. We've got Hindi content, Kannada content, Telugu content, Marathi content. If all of these content can actually get watched by people all over the world, we're great storytellers. Why would our content not be watched by people around the world, right? And it was at this time that the OTT landscape, like I mentioned, was also changing. So what was happening? ZEE as a group was the pioneers of OTT. We actually launched the very first OTT platform way back in 2012, and it didn't really succeed. But it didn't succeed for specific reasons. For an OTT to succeed, it's incredibly important that you have an ecosystem that allows its success, right? What was the problem then? We had very low internet penetration, extremely high data costs, over $3 per GB. This has now crashed, really crashed. Largely a 2G market, poor bandwidth, and underdeveloped payment ecosystems, right? So low volumes made the monetization really, really difficult. And then something happened. In 2016, we had a tipping point. Jio launched. What did the Jio launch do? It actually first put in a massively cool infrastructure across this country, and it crashed data prices. From rupees 200 per GB, it became $6 a GB. Suddenly, and if all of you think back, everybody in your home, the person who was helping you at home, your drivers, people in small shops, everybody was getting onto the data bandwagon and watching content. Do you remember a time when cafes would actually advertise that, hey, come in and I have Wi-Fi? It was such a big deal. Because you know what? You could save on data costs. You'd go into this restaurant or that cafe, and you'd get free Wi-Fi. It's laughable for us today, right? We're thinking, why? Why is that a deal? Why is that even a selling point? Because Jio has made it tremendously reasonable for us. There was a time when Google came in, and in all of the railway stations, they were setting up the Wi-Fi system. It was a big deal. You would go in there, and you would get, free Wi-Fi. It was a massive deal. So all of that changed with Jio coming in, and our data prices crashed to become the lowest in the world. This brought middle India onto, the data platform in droves, right? The audience was increasingly mobile first, and online content consumption went through the roof. Some other things happened along the same time. There were other catalysts. We had become the second largest smartphone market after China. And Chinese smartphones were flooding our markets, making it really, really cheap. And so everybody and their cousin had a smartphone now. So that was very cool. And then, quite inadvertently, we had demonetization, which of course was done for very many reasons, but one of the accidental outcomes of demonetization was overnight, India became digital. Do you remember a time when all the little stores you went suddenly allowed you to make digital payments? Because what? We didn't have a choice. overnight, demonetization drove us all to digitization. It was a wonderful thing that happened for India. It wasn't the intent, but it was a beautiful accidental outcome. So we speeded our way into digitization. Around this time, many global players were also entering India. We had Amazon and Netflix and others all coming in. This was the perfect time, therefore, when within my company, we were saying we've got multiple streaming platforms, let's get it all into one, right? And then, the job fell on me to figure out what is the streaming platform going to stand for, whom are we going to address, what will we stand for, because it was a crowded market already. We already had the Netflixes and the Amazon Primes of the world. We also had the Hotstars and the Woots of the world, right? So who would we chase? Global Indians, aspirers, tier 2, tier 3? We had to dig deeper, and we started with some of our research. Our research actually pointed us towards the new internet user, because there were so many new internet users coming in. And I remember taking the call saying that with the Netflixes and Amazon Primes of the world already in the market, and with the deep pockets they have for content, I need to go after something that makes me stand out, and therefore the audience that we went after is Middle India, right? We figured out Middle India was coming in digitization in droves. That's a good audience for us to chase. And we also figured out that this audience is actually not looking for content in English. It's not looking for anglicized, fancy, global content. It wants rooted content in the language of its comfort, right? And this is the audience that we decided that we would chase. So what would ZEE5 then stand for? It would stand for becoming the largest language platform, so we launched it in 2018, February 14th actually, Valentine's Day. So it was, when I launched, it was to India with love, because it was going to cater to all the languages. And we had many firsts along with the launch. We were the first language platform to say that we would go across 11 Indian languages. And we also realized that in a country where the literacy is, not as much as we'd like, we possibly wanted to give people the option of voice search. I remember calling up Google, speaking to them and getting their API integrated. We were the first platform to give people voice search. So all you had to do is say what you want and you got it. Subsequently, lots of platforms replicated that. It wasn't a surprise when we launched. We galloped to #1 across the SAARC markets. There is such a love for Bollywood and our content across Pakistan and Bangladesh. There's nothing to be said. You just open it. I didn't even need to market. We took some credit for bringing it to #1, but I honestly can tell you, if it wasn't me, anybody there would have still got it to #1. It had nothing to do with who was running it. It was just that our content was so phenomenally popular in the subcontinent. People love Bollywood, and they would have gone to our platform because it was the only source for this content. So we got to #1. Some sad stories subsequently, which is a function of the way the world operates and how, geopolitics affects business. We were #1 in Pakistan, and then Kargil happened, Pulwama happened, and every time something like this happens, the governments have a disconnect, and then they'll pull out the plug on marketing, and things like that happened. So, finally we were banned in Pakistan because, Z is pretty nationalist. Somebody wrote something, then, the Pakistan side got upset, usual stuff. Bangladesh was a different story. It's always the little brother. And like we get worried about the Indias and Chinas of the world, Bangladesh gets worried about us and scared that all our ad dollars will be taken by India. But we did a beautiful campaign. We went into Bangladesh and we said we'd do a campaign saying stronger together. It was really us telling the Bangladesh government and people that let's work together and we will be stronger together. We got it to leadership in that market as well. And then we took it global across 190 plus countries, and the audience that we chased was the South Asian diaspora. Think about it. The South Asian diaspora is an incredibly powerful diaspora. They're the highest earning cohort in all of these global markets. Those faces might mean something to you. We've got a Satya Nadella, we've got a Rishi Sunak, we've got a Diljit Dosanjh, we've got a Kamala Harris, right? Diljit Dosanjh is now at Coachella. It is a function of how the South Asian has made his mark globally. We are a force to reckon with. And we are there everywhere across the globe. Much like the joke of, go to the moon and you'll find a Chaya Kada and a Malayali. You go anywhere in the globe today, you'll find a South Asian. And they're doing extremely well for themselves. So this was the audience we wanted to cater to. But it was a very hard-fought win. I won't go into the details of this because I'm going to the whole strategy at TIE later in the week, but just for you to understand in a nutshell, imagine we're just 2% of the population across the globe, right? So if you want to market something in this country, you will put hoardings, you will advertise on television, you will advertise in the newspaper, and you will find a way to get your message across to the audience. Now imagine that you're doing it in the United States of America, with 2% of the population. Lots of people will tell you, hey, go to Times Square and put 4 big ads. It costs an arm and a leg, do the ad for starters, and only 2 out of every 100 people are really a relevant audience. So that's a lot of money you're wasting. These are all vanity things that don't really pull back in terms of, actual business sense. Huge acquisition costs. It costs upward of $90 in digital marketing to acquire a consumer in these markets. My product cost is $10 a month. The math doesn't make sense. I can't do digital marketing, which is why brands that went ahead of me and tried to go global failed miserably because it's really expensive. It's very difficult to do, to go after the South Asian audience. And then there's disparate digital sophistry. So while we are a country that went through a digital journey, and Geo made all the difference for us, once Geo came, we went to a digitally sophisticated place. Think of countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan, which is actually pre-Geo in its behavior, right? It is India pre-Geo, is that how those markets behave. So there are very many markets which are not digital. They love their content, but how are you going to do it unless they're all got high-speed internet and payment ecosystems? So streaming is a challenge in many of these places. ATL marketing is not viable, like I told you, leading us to create very customized strategies to drive growth. I won't go into all of this. It'll get too long. I'm doing this in detail because it's a strategic one at TIE. But we went deep into their everyday life of South Asians, and we did very, very different things, not the kind of things that you learn in B schools or in your management books or your marketing theories. We really sat and thought back of, there's a consumer, there's a marketing strategy. How do you engage this consumer truly and without spending too much money? So one of the things that we did is we beautifully integrated on ground along with digital. So this is us going across markets. That's Union Square in California, where my ZEE5 team is dancing to the then big RRR hit. We went across grocery stores because all the South Asians, no matter where you are, you still want your desi food. So you're going to, in the US, you're going to go to the Patel stores and look for your desi food. If you're in Dubai, you're going to go to Lulu. And once you're inside Lulu and you're inside Patel, I have a captive South Asian audience. Then when I market within the store, I have a much higher probability and propensity of conversion. So that's what we did, right? Banks and money transfer companies, because people are sending their remittances back to India. Fantastic place to actually catch this audience and convert. We actually launched in US with Priyanka Chopra. Very natural brand ambassador for us. She's somebody who has straddled India and US very beautifully. She's married to a Jonas Brothers, so a mainstream American, and has managed that identity really well. So she formed a very great brand ambassador for us. We did a fantastic outreach with the students. You know how many students travel into the US every year across universities. So I tied up with this young gentleman called Sudhanshu Kaushik, who is the head of a North American Association of Indian Students. I just stumbled on this boy on LinkedIn, and I saw that he was really, really passionate and vibrant and doing amazing stuff. He had a very fancy photograph with Shah Rukh Khan, and he was doing something, and I picked up the phone and I spoke to him, and I asked him that I'm trying to do something in the US, and it's for the Indian audience. Do you think that I can work with you? And he was so excited. He took us across to 150 universities in the US. He took a Bollywood dance competition, and the entire thing was branded by ZEE5. In no time, every student in every university knew about ZEE5. And imagine, these kids are going in, they're really missing their desi news, their desi entertainment, and I gave it to them at a discounted price. Gave them a welcome kit when they came into university. Every welcome kit had a ZEE5 discount logo. So all of them sort of got onto the bandwagon immediately. So it was very tactical in terms of figuring out where the South Asians are and how we market to them. Sorry, it's glitching, but that is a picture of Lulu. So So we went into, the Middle East. And in the Middle East, I think the most obvious partner was the Lulu stores. And, they were excited because we had the power as Zee to bring in the biggest stars into their store. And bringing the big stars into the store means everybody trooped into the store. So I have brought everybody from, Dia Mirza to Salman Khan to somebody to the Lulu stores. And, people would be hanging out of the rafters in their stores, in their big flagship store in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And, it was really simple. They had to buy for above a certain amount. And again, they got a ZEE5 coupon. And they went back and became ZEE5 subscribers. So again, catchment audience. The Lulu stores is where every South Asian shops. And therefore, we got that audience also. Yeah. So tactical engagement in specific markets. All of these overlaid with digital strategies, which we drove along with Google and Meta. You can imagine that Google, YouTube, gives me a great sense of who the audience is, because through YouTube, they're watching, Desi content, and that becomes a target audience for me. The same with Meta. Meta is full of groups, right? You have your Mallu Association group, you have your Gujju Association, you have Marathi Association, so on and so forth. Very easy for us to target them for content. So that's what we did with that group. This is what subsequently happened. In the shortest time, we shot to number 1. That's the graph showing ZEE5 and every other player in the global markets. And you can see that we've shot up by leaps and bounds. That's ZEE5, Sony Live, Sun Next, Hotstar, Yup TV, et cetera, et cetera. This is App Annie, which is the gold standard for streaming. So while in this market, we are still one of the top 4, and there are people who've ahead of us, including Netflix and Hotstar. In the global markets, we were up by a mile, because we really understood and we did tactical things that no other player actually ahead of us had done. And so that was the journey of us getting to number 1 in the global markets. With this reach, we also became the natural home for smaller players. So all of the smaller players who cannot afford to go and market in the global markets, because like I told you, at $90, it's really expensive, we decided we'll pivot to aggregator. So we told these guys, come and sit within us. We're sitting now at a crazy reach. So the moment you sit in, you get immediate access to this reach. And from the consumer standpoint, he gets, that is the first one is Oho Gujarati, that's Chowpal, that's Namma Flix, which is the Kannada guy, iStream. All of these guys came and sat in. And so in the global market, you get onto ZEE5, and you can get content from all of these players in one place. So all of that was the theory of what I did, so that you know that I'm not just faffing. Here is a video to actually show you how we actually did it.
You never feel happy. You never feel happy. Never feel happy. No, you won't. Until you try. You never feel happy. No, you won't. Until you try. You never feel.
We believe that ZEE5 will be the go-to entertainment destination for all of India. The India that resides across both her urban and semi-urban demographies, and has been waiting for that digital destination that will serve her great, relevant content in the language of her comfort.
But it's all good, cause you really love Desi.
Bangladeshi originals in the pipeline. These originals will be taken across markets and will be subtitled in English to make them accessible to anyone and everyone across the globe.
so much for joining us today for the much-awaited launch of ZEE5 in the United States of America.
Well, congratulations, Archana, and to the team of ZEE5.
As you know, ZEE5 has its roots in India, but has traveled across the world and today has built a strong identity as a destination for South Asian content.
My quest is to create more recognition, representation, and to be able to have South Asians feel seen, which is why the synergy, I guess, works.
I really grew up with watching ZTV shows and movies just with my parents and grandparents when they were here, and that really formed a large part of my identity.
Introducing ZEE5 Global Add-ons, a premium service that will enable all South Asians in the US access to exclusive content from multiple South Asian partners.
And that is the story of how we got it to #1 globally. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for that deeply insightful and engaging session.
We will now open the floor for a brief Q&A session. We kindly request the audience to keep their questions concise.
Hi, ma'am. That was a very educational session. Those tactics that ZEE5 has used to conquer that market share is very educational and very impressive. My question, you spoke a lot about the supply side, so my question revolves more on the demand side of things. I go back to how Spotify democratized music channels for artists, and I assumed, in my early days, I assumed that streaming platforms would do the same like YouTube did, but my question revolves around how much does ZEE5 focus on the filmmaker, or how can somebody sitting in Kochi sell their movie to ZEE5?
Oh yeah, there are very many ways to do it, but we've also done many initiatives where we actually called for original movie makers, to come and show us a script, so we ran a lot of competitions where we allowed young filmmakers who hadn't yet made it big on any big platform to come put it together, and if the story sort of intrigued us, we would even back them to make it. So we've done many of these initiatives, and they were really, really, really successful. So we've got a lot of their movies sitting on our platform as well, because many of these young filmmakers don't have the kind of money to back it to market. So we actually allow them to put it on. If we love the movie, we back it, we market it, and they get instant access to the globe because we've got massive reach, right? So depending on how invested we were in the content, we would actually market it as well. And it's been a very successful kind of operation, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. That was a wonderful session.
Thank you.
You mentioned that the customers are not loyal to the platform, but they go where the content is. But somehow I feel most of the millennials or the Gen Zs, usually they go watch, no matter what the content is, they go to YouTube or Netflix and...
Agreed, absolutely. Yeah. I think I should have mentioned that these two are the only two exceptions. Netflix, on account of massive library and fabulous user experience, right? And YouTube, I mean, what isn't there on YouTube? And it's absolutely free. So I completely endorse the fact that I should have said it with these two caveats. And what Netflix has done, actually no other OTT has ever been able to replicate, because it's been consistent in the way that it has taken content, you know, across markets, including the cross-language. So what happens is that each OTT player dabbles in particular languages. Netflix has been remarkable in that, like Squid Games has gone across all Indian languages, right? It's been able to take, you know, content and have it being watched in diverse countries. So it's almost like it can manage the globe with a couple of languages. It's only Netflix that hasn't been able to do it. It's just a function of great reach, consistently adding to its library, massive library, and a fantastic user experience, which I don't think any other player has been able to replicate. So absolute kudos to them. The amount they invest in tech is crazy, and it shows in spades.
I think not many of us know how difficult times we've had. I thought a couple of minutes I had spoken to you. You see the success here. You see the success here is probably the end result of that. But I mean, physically she has had some very tough time. You have not spoken anything about that. You know, the kind of tension it had borne on you. I mean, the youngsters should know. And, you know, she has just escaped out of a huge...
Oh, no.
I think you should go on that, you know, because...
No, I mean, you were asking me why I came back, and I was just giving that to you as a reason for why you asked me why I came back from the US. So that was just a private conversation.
That's big story, in fact. One cannot...
I'm not sure anybody is interested in that story, so yeah, maybe not. But yeah, I acknowledge what I said to you, and that was just to...
How do you foresee this business, OTT and streaming? Because today everyone is talking about hyper-personalization, AI-based content, and lot of things can go free. Then what would be the future of this business?
I think I definitely can tell you from the companies that, you know, I'm aware of. Earlier, the streaming was thought of as a medium, and it was, you know, like, you know, OTT platform A is winning over OTT platform B, and we were trying to make that vertical win. Now it's just considered one more part of your omni-channel. So you're not trying to make the vertical win, you're trying to make the content win, and streaming is just one more mode to get to the consumer. So the race is not within the vertical, the race is making the content the hero. So that kind of mind shift has definitely happened. Earlier you would notice that people actually put in these brags, you know, Disney has hit this many numbers. During, you know, IPL, we hit this many, you know, concurrent users. It was a very, very common parlance. Now nobody's talking about that anymore because they know it's very fickle. You will have it on the IPL day, and the next day you're off the platform. So there's no use talking about that because you can't hold it in consistently. So you're only talking about it being one more channel. That mind shift has happened.
Madam, hi. See,
preferred content, right?
Just
yeah, movies is just one, you know, content. Yeah, I think series really work very well because as you drop the series, so Game of Thrones, for example, though it was international content, what it did for Hotstar was amazing. All the youngsters were waiting for the next to drop. They were literally waiting for it to drop, right? So binge watching the day that a series drops becomes a whole excitement. And so as business people, we do it very tactically. If you're on a monthly plan, we will ensure that we don't drop the entire thing in a month. We will ensure we drop it so that you're, you know, with us for a couple of months. If I have a big blockbuster movie, like I had RRR, which was an Oscar winner, and it was, the original was on ZEE5. But you know what? I sold it only as part of an annual pack. So if you wanted to get it, you didn't get to buy it as a monthly pack, watch it, and because I spent crores and crores buying that movie. So I'm going to make jolly sure that you guys pay me for it. So when you want to buy, you want to watch RRR and you came on to ZEE5, you could watch it only as part of an annual pack. So things like that, that is what we do on this side to make sure that, the expensive content that is made is not completely, devalued in a sense.
Yeah, madam, just a question, so after these OTTs have all come in place, the conventional medias have taken a hit, like the TV broadcasting and all that. So their revenues have all hit because of digital have come in. The print media is already shrinking. Now the TV broadcasting, the conventional media is also, their revenues also got a hit. So what is your take on that? Like, what is the fate of such conventional media?
The old just has to give way for the new, unfortunately. I think it's just, but the good part is, I don't think you ever substitute an old media, right? I mean, especially in this state, like everybody still loves their newspaper. So you can, say whatever you want. There is a joy to, getting that physical paper and reading it, and a lot of us still do it. So I think a lot of things are going to coexist. I think television is always going to have a strength, right? There is something to having a single TV in a home and gathering together and watching it. It may not be being watched the way we used to. So I think connected TVs are becoming really, really big, right? So it's less about appointment viewing. You will watch what you want, when you want, but you will watch it on the big screen. So connected TVs will become big. So I think everything will become a new normal, and you won't completely give way to the old, but I think it'll coexist. I don't think newspapers are going anywhere. It will exist, but it'll exist in limited audiences. But my daughter's in this audience. There's no way in heck that she's going to be reading the newspaper, or anybody in her generation, because we criticize a lot saying the younger generation doesn't read. They do read, is what I've realized. They just read it in very different places from what we were used to. We read it, in conventional places, physical books and newspapers and stuff. They all get their content. They're very well informed. They just get it from different avenues, which are more digital, I think, in nature. Probably from their Instagram feed, I guess. I don't know. TikTok. I don't know.
Why is ZEE5? Why not 4 or 3?
Oh, because we launched across 5 continents in the first go. Yeah. That's all it is. It's just one of those whimsical things.
Where is your major revenue from? Is it from the subscription or the subscription actually?
Yeah, we're a...
What's the advertisement percentage?
So ZEE5 was very strongly subscription-based in the global markets and very strongly ad-based in the Indian markets. The reason it was subscription-based in the global markets is because we don't have RBI regulations for resubscribing. So I can actually do auto-renewal. Auto-renewal has very strong rules here in India.
What's the sort of percentage when you see the ratio between...
It's very OTT platform to OTT platform. In my case, in the global markets, I was 80% subscription, 20% ad-driven. Yeah.
And another question, this movie,
Of course.
Was it a success, and how was it?
Viewership. Are you talking about
No, I've seen that. But what I'm asking is, was it a big success from your point of view? Did the reach really was? I don't know whether from there was it because you must have bought it for a certain whatever rate.
Yeah.
So what is the success rate from your side? At the same time, the viewership also, did it really penetrate?
So it is a lovely piece of content, and it did very well in this market. What it didn't do was do the crossover across languages, which can be done with great storytelling. But somehow it stayed restricted to the Kerala market. But like truly great stories actually do a crossover. So today a lot of people up north also watch our south content as long as you have subtitles. That didn't happen with Manoratanga.
Ma'am, what are some of the metrics that consider
So daily active users, it's all very my industry jargon, but daily active users is probably the best metric of how many people are coming actively onto your platform on a daily basis. Yeah, and engagement time, like viewing time, right? Are they still?
we also, I was just thinking like what would be the dashboard that you'd be having in front of you, because there will be a lot of data.
A lot of data.
Have the metrics changed over a period of time if you compare like 10 years back when OTT?
Absolutely. So what I said, right? Back in the day, we were very vain about how many users or viewers came onto our platform. Now we realize it's just a vanity thing, because he'll come in today, I will boast, oh, I have 10,000. But he'll probably be there for exactly an hour, and then suddenly I'll be at 0. Like if I was an IPL guy for Hotstar, I have these, you see a Hotstar graph as an internal person. You will see it peaking on the day of an IPL and then just crashing. And that is the nature of the consumer.
So there is no single KPI which is tracked for, except for this daily active users?
No, there are hundreds and hundreds of metrics that we track all the time, because literally the business is about tracking all of those KPIs and engaging the consumer, more. So there's very many, way beyond the scope of what I'll be able to say in this, but many, I assure you, very many.
Ma'am, here. I was really fascinated by the amount of efforts you and your team put to make ZEE5 Global. So, my question is around career related. So, how can we, from Tier 2, Tier 3 B school students, reach the fame and the position like you reached?
Oh. Oh God. You know, there's so much in life that is about being in the right place at the right time. And I think it's less credit to me and the luck of the draw of being in the right place at the right time. Definitely when I went into Z, they were on the verge of sacking somebody, and so they just put me into that role. You know, so sometimes, you know, those things happen. But also I believe that when you're given an opportunity, how much you grab it and do something about it, you know, makes the difference. But a lot of things is about timing. I don't know. I think
you get the feel if you had told that story.
Sorry?
If you had told the story, what you're seeing, just the film, right?
So I think maybe I should say that it's a little embarrassing, but since he's, you know, brought it up a couple of times, he asked me why I came back from the US back to India. Essentially, somewhere along the journey, I had a brain bleed and, you know, an aneurysm, and, you know, that I was, as you can see, I'm doing fine. So I'm good. But those are kind of things when you work insanely and you don't have balance in your life, those kind of things can also happen. And I was extremely lucky. I got medical help at the right time. And then I came down to wonderful Kochi for rest and rehab. And I've been here, and you know, it's been fantastic. And I've doing very well, as you can see. But that was a side conversation I had with this gentleman to tell him why I came back from Manhattan.
I thought it was very important.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, don't do stupid things. Have balance in your life, and you know, don't work insanely.
Yeah. Thank you. Wonderful presentation from your side.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed it. A little bit maybe off tangent. I just wanted to know, even after subscribing to actually a OTT platform like Netflix, they again try to sell you a movie on rent. So what is that concept about?
That is very odd. That cannot be. I mean, ideally should not be.
It is happening.
Sell you a movie on rent.
Yeah.
It must be Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime definitely does it. I doubt Netflix does it. Netflix possibly.
I'm not sure which one.
No,
but
not
I've
Netflix.
seen this happening.
I would vouch that Netflix doesn't do it. Amazon Prime does, because some of it has ads and some of it. So there are many tiers of subscription. So you can have a subscription which has no ads. You can have a subscription that gets you limited content, and you can have a premium subscription that gets you all content. So these are just business tactics that every OTT deploys. If they're doing this, it is because there is a superior premium subscription that includes all of this, and some of their big blockbusters. Like I feel them for them, because when I bought RRR, I spent an arm and a leg, or my company spent an arm and a leg. So I want to make sure that people pay for it. So, you know, so I would have at some point said that the annual subscription is 100 rupees, right? As I buy new, big, expensive movies, it is criminal for me to continue giving it at 100 rupees. So then I want to say some of this content that I have bought for such a high value is outside the purview of this. So if you want it, you have to pay a little more. It's just a business tactic because, you know, I mean, as a business person, I have a boss who's telling me if you don't hit your numbers, you know, life is going to be really difficult for you. So we have numbers and targets, and therefore we have to make sure the business makes sense for the business owner. So we can't afford to, you know, devalue all our content and just put it at the lowest rate. So that's possibly the reason.
So it's basically getting more focused, content focused now.
Very content focused. Content is our product. Content is expensive. Content is, I mean, some of the content that I watched in the US, I don't know whether you all have watched it, there's something called Yellowstone and Succession. They're English episodes, but Yellowstone is like a masterpiece in the way it's set and done. It has so much effort and time and, you know, energy gone. It is criminal to sell it at this pittance, right? I mean, imagine years and years in the making of a beautiful series, you know, shot at Yellowstone, beautifully done. So I think streaming sometimes has devalued content, and consumers have to appreciate the amount of effort, time, and energy going into making it, and be willing to pay for, like you're willing to pay for any good thing, willing to pay for content. Piracy is another huge problem we have, right? I mean, it just takes away all of the effort and energy that so many movie makers and filmmakers are spending, making content. And then it's just pirated. It's terrible. It's really like, we did a wonderful campaign on piracy, and I'll speak about it for just 2 seconds because it's pertinent and it just came up. All of us are good people. Nobody would think for a second of stealing from somebody, okay, or robbing or stealing. And yet, piracy is stealing. Piracy is you doing something illegal, and yet nobody thinks about it. We all, in the global markets, everybody goes to a site called Enthusan. You get all of your Mallu content on Enthusan. It's pirated. It is illegal. Somebody who made that movie, some production person, is not getting returns for it. But we're good people, we don't think of it because it's faceless for us. We're not seeing whom we're stealing from, so it doesn't matter to us. But if we knew that we were actually taking money from somebody's pocket, none of us would do it, right? So, just
Thank you so much.
Sorry? So, it has been a very tough space for the OTT market for precisely the reason I said. The consumer's fickle. I spend so much money to acquire a consumer, but I can't keep him constantly engaged. He's going to devour my content, he's going to leave. So which is why now we've stopped thinking of the OTT platform as a business per se, and thinking of it as just one more medium for our content. So it's just one more medium. So you're not trying to make the OTT successful, you're thinking of it as just a medium. So that mind shift has happened. They're not, all of them are not making money. Netflix is still the gold standard. They've done a wonderful job. But they were also first movers, so they captured the market very quickly.
Is it also because you mentioned that Netflix has the tech? So does ZEE5 focus on the platform, or is it about content?
All platforms have to focus on tech if they want to stay ahead of the game. They will lose the plot if they don't. Just imagine, you can watch the best movie in the world, but if you've got buffering, or you're just getting a bad experience, you're not getting to something, you're just going to get irritated and go.
How can this tech get better? I mean, everything is now no buffering, but UI maybe can get better.
Yes.
What else? What do you see?
No, buffering is actually not a simple thing, right? So you have to have CMSs placed everywhere. You have to have the cached content, right, so that it comes to you quickly. That itself is an expensive game. It's really expensive. So Akamai is one of the global players that has CMSs across the globe. So what it essentially does is your content, whatever it is, goes to certain catchment areas, and from the closest catchment area, it comes to you, so that it's coming to you quickly. But that means that infrastructure has to be in place. All of it takes money, so it is an expensive game.
Thank you for the meaningful interactions, and thank you once again, ma'am, for your valuable responses. Now we would like to invite our president, Mr. K. Harikumar sir, to hand over MMM2 to the chief guest. Sir, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
To present the vote of thanks, we invite Mr. K. Anil Verma, Honorary Secretary, KMA.
Good evening. I think it's a totally different subject, it was very unknown to maybe all of us, and a different topic, and the evolution of streaming and watching movies or whatever content. Everything, the change is fast, and we don't know what is coming next, and what change it is going to be in this OTT platform. And thank you, ma'am, for being with us, and taking us through this lovely, very systematic and nice talk on this. Thank you so much. I also thank all the past presidents, managing committee members, student chapters, and all present here today, this evening, and good night. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words of appreciation. May I now request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you.